Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
Ryan Little.
All right. Okay, folks. All right. I'm setting up my chair. I got a busted chair, man. Oh, I can't stand this chair, folks. I can't stand it. I bought this freaking computer chair, and then for some reason, I guess I didn't pay attention to the maximum weight or whatever. Usually it's about 250. I'm a little bit over that. I'm about 260. And now this thing does not want to work anymore. It just keeps on sliding down, me and my fat ass. Maybe I should have checked the weight on that to make it 300 pounds, the maximum that you could take. But now, I didn't, and it keeps sliding freaking down, and it upsets me. And I feel like I don't want to get another chair. Because I didn't get my money out of this freaking chair. I want to at least have this joint for 2 years. Then I can say, all right, I got my money out of it. But to pay the money that I paid for the stupid chair, I think I paid like $150, $200. And the thing started acting up 6 months down the line or 3 months. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? I bought the, whatever. I'm not trying to, it is what it is. I bought the wrong chair, and now I got to deal with it and deal with this shit sliding down. Oh, it pisses me off. Yeah. What is going on, everybody? What's going on? Hopefully your week has been good and bad, because they're both learning lessons on how you could be better people. How has your week gone for you? Mine has been, of course, another week in the first month of January in the year 2022. And yeah, man, COVID is something else. I mean, it's like screwing up to me and screwing up everything, but it's neither here nor there. We're dealing with it, and it is what it is. Anyway, I'm your host, Nova Phoenix, host on GCOM Radio on iHeartRadio. And we got a couple things that we would like to discuss for this week's show, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in and downloading the show. Please download it. Download the show to iHeart app or check it out on whatever other platform where you listen to your podcast. Please also subscribe on the YouTube channel. Subscribe. Bang on that subscribe button, man. Follow on there as well. All right, so let's get on with the show. All right, so I would like to give much love and condolences to the family of Meatloaf and Louis Anderson, the comedian. Meatloaf, of course, the alternative rocker that was in, did plenty of albums, did plenty of movies. I know Meatloaf from the movie Fight Club, when he was the fat guy with the titties. Yeah, I didn't even know that was Meatloaf. And wow, some people just have natural talents. Meatloaf can sing, he can rock out, and he can, act. And, those early on, that was one of the first few artists, music artists that I've really said, wow, they do have some acting chops. And I tell you the truth, I really haven't been like deep into Meatloaf's music. And I've heard a couple songs and I really did appreciate it. But the fact that they lived their love and they shared it with the world and people really connected with them, I think that's a beautiful experience to have as a human being. And to pass on the way he did, it's condolences and much support and good energy to the family in their time of grief. So to Meatloaf and to Louis Anderson, he was 68 years old, and he was young. To me, he had another 20 years. But these things happen, man. This is life. So rest in peace to both of them. Check this out. Mark Cuban came out with a Pharma website, man. It's called costplusdrugs.com. He's selling over 100 generic drugs where it used to be. expensive, and that's the problem with our health industry. It's super expensive to buy drugs. It should never be. People do have their insurance to cover them for these costs, but this is the problem where we come in with corruption with our health industry, our insurance, the health insurance business, where there's a lot of bloat, and there's a lot of bloat because these medicines are super expensive. And I went to the site. Please go to costplusdrugs.com. And I checked out some of the medications here, dealing anything from acid reflux, and this is running down to cancer, low potassium, mental health, seizures, smoke cessation, steroids, thyroid, urinary symptoms, all these things. And they do have a list of what these drugs cost previously, and it's amazing. One drug, it's called albendazole, and is generic. One drug is called albendazole, and it costs $6,500. $6,500, and now the price went down to $453. There are other drugs that are inhalers. They go from $54 down to $43, $55.79 to $30. That's albuterol. So I don't know if these drugs are regularly used, but of course we get the whole business model of trying to bring down the cost considerably with the drugs that are on the market and make it more affordable. And I'm all for that. And I think a part of what makes the insurance business and the health insurance business so convoluted and corrupt, as they say, more bloated, as they say, and of course there's a bit of corruption in there once you peel back the layers. And you don't want to really deal with kind of fixing anything, because when you fix things, someone is not making thousands of dollars per pill on a specific drug, and that's why corruption it works. They don't want to fix it. A lot of the public figures and politicians say, "Hey, man, we have to fix our health insurance and our the whole health industry and everything like that." I really don't want to do that, because a lot of people are making money. If someone really gets down to brass tacks on where the corruption lives in these industries, then a lot of people are not making money off of it, and a lot of people are paying other people to keep things the way they are. So I'm big up so far to Mark Cuban for putting out this website. So hopefully these drugs are something that people can use and they're effective for whatever ailments that they have. Go to costplusdrugs.com, and of course, let's build this out. This could be the start of something where these drugs could be more affordable to people. So I'm all for getting affordable drugs to people that are suffering, because you shouldn't have to go broke to live. You shouldn't have to. If you come down with an ailment, whether it's cancer or something else that's messing up your quality of life, why do you have to go broke trying to save your own life? And I don't think there's any price tag when it comes to human life. So big ups to Mark Cuban right now. So last week, Ngannou, everybody was watching the UFC on that last fight with Ngannou facing oh my God, what's that guy's name? DB. What's this guy's name? Ngannou versus let's see. Ngannou versus Francis Ngannou versus Game. Okay. So everybody knows as far as the UFC fight with Ngannou versus Game. Of course, big ups to Francis Ngannou. He won, but it's something that happened really right after his win in the ring. So my man did not get any support from Dana White putting the belt around him for that great win that he had in the ring. So hey, what's going on? I want to see what was the deal with that. He was even asked, Ngannou, he has no idea why he wasn't blessed with the belt, as they say, for the win from Dana White, wrapping it around his waist. Supposedly there's some kind of money thing that's going on with Ngannou's contract that they've been arguing as of late, because he's not getting paid enough. So, of course, usually it's going to be something like that. It's always going to be about money. I know it's always about money. Supposedly, I heard that Dana White has some issues with paying his fighters the right amount, supposedly. I don't know. That's the word that goes around, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ngannou took his step up to say, hey man, let's work my contract, because I'm not getting paid what I should be getting paid as the winner in this heavyweight division. So let's see what goes on. I'm sure I have no idea. By the time this show drops and on all the platforms, they're probably going to ask Dana White what's going on, and Dana White is probably going to give some kind of a distraction or some BS excuse why what was going on. You know how it goes. So if it is about money, pay Ngannou, man. Pay Ngannou. He's a top winner in his division, and he should get paid what he should as a winner in the UFC. So big ups to Ngannou, man. Francis Ngannou, you came long, you came hard, you did your thing as far as your life, coming through right from the motherland on the continent, and you over here where hundreds of thousands of people are watching you take on these wins in your division. So big ups to Francis Ngannou, man, for real. So Idris, man, Idris name is coming up again. Idris' name is coming up again for the next Bond role. Yo, let me tell you something, man. So they had this thing going on circulating on Twitter, and they have a bunch of people that should, possibly take on a role of James Bond. And they had a whole bunch of people, some black actors, some Asian actors, and it's a couple of them that I picked myself. I can't remember the names. But to me, who jumped out? Of course, because it's like a no-brainer. Idris Elba should be the next Bond. Now, supposedly the author of the James Bond series, Ian Fleming, he was like, he always saw James Bond 007 as a white man. Okay, cool, whatever. All right, but, at some point it's like, you want to do something different with the character. Everybody knows James Bond. And when you see Idris, man, and I always said, I've always supported him on the show, as far as he has that debonair swagger. He has that, to me, that connection on camera. I just think that Idris Elba never had the opportunity to get the right role to really bring out the best of Idris Elba. I don't think he's had that role yet, and I think Hollywood is kind of never really gave him the attention that he should have. Look, there are actors and there are actors. And I feel that Idris Elba is an actor's actor because he, like I said, he exudes that swag. He's very, electrifying on camera when he's in that right role. I don't know if it's his agent, and Hollywood is just looking him on by. He just needs that right freaking role, man. I tell you. I've always liked him from the very beginning, since Awaya, from the episodes that I did see. And, I really liked him in the last Cowboy film. And I think that James Bond would be great for him, and he's getting older. Let me tell you something. They did talk about the producers of the James Bond franchise, and they're saying that his name did come up. They're talking about it. But, it's Hollywood talk. They're going to just say anything just to appease people. Look, when you have fans that are supporting you in such a way, every time the conversation comes up who should be the next James Bond, and the fans of all colors are saying, yo, Idris should be the one. Even my guy, the last James Bond, I can't remember this freaking guy's name. He said that, he think Idris Elba would be a great James Bond. Daniel Craig. He was like, yeah, sure. I think he'd be a terrific James Bond. He should be. Why not? I mean, it's a fictional character, and I think why not? And Hollywood shouldn't wait too long, because if he does get picked, Idris Elba, he would be the oldest James Bond ever. All right. The next one, of course, that was the oldest, was my favorite James Bond, was Roger Moore. Roger Moore, I think, was about 45 or 45, I guess, 48, something like that, when he took on the role of James Bond, and he went right up into, I think, 58. So if the people that are handling the James Bond property make a decision, make it quick, and you got to do it back to back. Because if whoever is going to be the next James Bond, Idris is totally out of it because he's going to be damn near 60. Because of course, whoever gets picked for James Bond, you might as well just put away 10 years of your life because that's what it takes to do at least a trilogy. So. Hey man, and they actually mentioned that guy from Bridgerton. Hell to the no. I'm sorry, he's probably a great actor. I never see him on Bridgerton, but I just don't want, if you're gonna pick a black guy, to me this is my feeling. You're gonna be the typical light skinned guy. Okay, it's gonna be a black guy, so pick this dude. It just, to me, it's too obvious of a pick based on the colorism that we have in Hollywood today. You have to really go outside the circle to pick a real quality actor. And even though he's a little older, there's no other way to explain it, to not pick him with he's right in front of your face and you're looking all over the place, down the block, around the corner, always to say, all right, well, who are we gonna, come on, it's Idris Elba. I'd rather it not be a one shot. You know what I mean? And he's gonna have to get in shape, of course, if any role he has to get in shape. And I forgot the name of the movie that I really saw him in. The movie didn't do really well, but it was an action film. He was kind of a road cop or whatever, and he had the typical Hollywood cop movie chasing somebody. And there were some fight scenes in there, and I was like, yo, this guy really has the it factor, man. If you really give him a great action movie as him in a lead role for whatever character, he could come across. He could really do it. And what better character to do it than James Bond, man. So I mean, hey, we'll see. Now it's funny, right? And I actually thought, a lot of people and a lot of folks that may disagree with me on it. What if you let's flip it. Would people take a traditional black character and flip it to make him white? How would that go? T'Challa, Luke Cage as a white dude. Personally, I don't think it would work. Why do I say that? Because we really don't have any legacy black characters in Hollywood that the creators can really say, you know what, we kind of played this card several times already, let's kind of do something different. There aren't any legacy black characters that have been played by multiple black actors, so it just wouldn't work. And to do that, say with Luke Cage, would just be forced to me. And then you have to say a white guy in Harlem. I mean, not to say there ain't white people in Harlem now, but the way the setting is, as far as how playing this, as far as Black Harlem, and thinking of Luke Cage as a white guy, there's a lot of things you got to change. Like, how would that work up? And of course, it's a fictional character. You could get creative, but a lot of times I just don't think it could work just realistically, because you just haven't had any characters really continuing. To me, you have a lot of great black actors that play some pretty cool characters, and they're just one-offs. Like, I'm thinking of Will Smith. Will Smith has made a lot of great movies. He is a veteran in Hollywood. He's been doing it a long time, since The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So when you actually see a movie with Will Smith, you really know that movie they're gonna put a lot of money into the movie. Number one. Number two, Will Smith is, other than Wild Wild West, look, I have a guilty pleasure, right? Even though Wild Wild West wasn't the greatest movie, for some reason I like rewatching this movie. I don't know why. Like, I don't know, because I think the best person that really did what he did was Will Smith. It's the same thing for what do you call it, for Suicide Squad. The first Suicide Squad, and Will Smith played Deadshot. Even though the movie wasn't great, they did say that who carried the movie was Will Smith. And Will Smith, again, just like to me, Idris, I think I don't want to say it, but Will Smith really, he's real talented. Let's just say that he's real talented, right along with Idris. And if Will Smith is into a character, he's gonna put his all into it. So, yeah. So I don't know. That's my personal opinion. You just don't have enough. I mean, and the thing is, there's so many black characters out there from a plethora of different stories, fictional, that just hasn't got on the screen yet. It hasn't got on the big screen, and I know they could be billion-dollar movies, but you know what it is in Hollywood. I mean, and honestly, at this point, with all the movies that have come out with lead black characters and all black casts that have really done well, the idea that black movies are not international is just a myth at this point. It's just like, because that was the excuse. Matter of fact, Will Smith got into that. I just saw recently, I think it was last week, they were saying when he did Independence Day, the studio didn't want Will Smith. They was like, Will Smith, who is this guy? It's really not going to be international. It's not going to make any money. And then the director, I forgot who the director of Independence Day was, pushing hard. I mean, to the point where he was like, I'm going to take this movie someplace else. And he was like, at the time, I was just like, he said, I don't know if I could have took it to another studio. I don't think that was possible, but I was saying anything to keep Will Smith in the lead role. And they followed through with it. And Will Smith was the character in Independence Day. And look what happened. Independence Day did extremely well. I mean, over the top well. So the idea that black movies or black lead characters by black actors can't be international and make a whole lot of money, that's just old news. So as far as Hollywood doing some movies, it's really a mental thing. Yeah, I'm getting at. It's really a mental thing. So it is what it is. Anyway, and you know what? It's also the same way that I felt too. It's also in gaming too, man. I mean, gaming also is just as guilty as Hollywood when it comes to the movies. I see so many games that come out and I'm like, how come it, to me, this is how you do it. You go to any video production gamer production company, right? And you say, make a hot game. Think of a hot story, right? Think of all the characters, however they dress, whatever setting, whatever time period, future or the past, all that, bop, 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 put a twist on it, whether it's steampunk or what do you call it? Cyber, what was that? Cyber 99, whatever it is with Keanu Reeves. Okay, think of a hot one. Now, when you got everything laid out, make the lead character black. That's it. That's it. As long as the story is good, as long as the characters are worked on, and that they put their blood, sweat, and tears into it, and it's a real, genuinely good video game, it's gonna hit off. But that's the video game industry. Yeah, but I just can't believe, in society, in 2022, that this is such a thing. Movies, games, as long as you have the story is compelling, it will have a universal draw, and it's been proven so many times. Joss Whedon, man. Speaking of movies, Joss Whedon, man, he was in. This dude is wild, right? So everybody knows at this point with Joss Whedon, I just can't understand. I liked him as a director. There's a lot of movies that he did. I'm like, oh, Joss Whedon, okay, he's a veteran director, but goddamn, this dude. Of course, they had problems. Zack Snyder had to leave because he had a death in the family, so it was kind of passed over to Joss Whedon. And who'd have thunk it that the Justice League movie was totally rewritten by Joss Whedon. Totally rewritten. Now, who would have thunk? Again, that was rewritten because Joss Whedon was a dirtbag. Who would have thought that this dude was a dirtbag? So apparently, this guy had so much things to say about the cast of Justice League. I mean, with Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot actually said that, Joss Whedon was a prick towards her, and then he was asked about it, and Joss Whedon, this dude was wild. This dude actually said, when he was asked about the whole beef with Gal Gadot, he was like, and everybody knows at this point, what he said. If you don't know what he said, let me see if I can find it. Okay, so he says that Gal Gadot misunderstood him, quote unquote, and he said, you know what, English is not her first language, and I tend to be annoyingly flowery in my speech. Yo, can you? Yo, the balls. This dude, yo, this dude had balls. Gal Gadot is not from, she's not from another planet, my dude. She speaks English very well. And for you to say something so blatantly obnoxious and over the top like that, you deserve. Along with all the, people was dropping down. They had the receipts. When they were doing, I think Buffy the Vampire said, who knew that he was doing that back then? He was dissing one of a female writer, making fun of her in the writer's room, like totally tearing her down. He was, what else did he did? He has, of course, Ray Fisher, of course. What am I talking about? Big thing with Ray Fisher on Justice League. And, Ray Fisher was very vocal at the time. I think he was the first guy that actually, stepped up to talk about Joss Whedon. Of course, at the time, people were like, oh, well, that's just Hollywood business. They never really gave it a lot of, he was not canceled whatsoever. But slowly but surely, people started to come up and saying, yo, this is Joss Whedon. This is Joss Whedon. And Ray Fisher even had issues with Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is the writer of a lot of Marvel comic book stories. Jeff Johns, and he had issue with Jeff Johns, and it turns out that he was a prick too. He was a racist prick. Matter of fact, Ray Fisher said it straight up on Twitter. Jeff Johns is a racist, and you know what? I wouldn't put it past him. That's right, because you don't know any of these people that you see on the end credits, whether director, DP, director of photography, gaffer, I don't know, production set designer or whatever. You don't know who any of these people are on these major movies, productions, and then, the only people that knows who's who is the people that work with them. And Joss Whedon is a prick. And seems like Jeff Johns is a racist too. And I believe Ray Fisher all the way 120%. 120%. So now, with Joss Whedon saying all these things, hopefully he puts himself on Front Street. Everybody will he be canceled? I don't know. But, it didn't help him. I don't know who his PR person was, because I would have been like, shut the fuck up. This dude was talking crazy reckless. I'm like, dude, do you not hear yourself? Do you hear the words that are coming out of your mouth? You were talking really reckless right now. Yo, who is the person? I don't know. It don't look good. From what I hear, the murmurs that, people in Hollywood are like, let's just stay away from Joss right now. So is he fully canceled? I don't know. See, now Walter Hamada, that was another thing. When this whole thing was going down with Ray Fisher, and he was bringing it up to Walter Hamada. Walter Hamada is the producer of Warner Brothers, and he's in charge of the DC property. Let me see. Walter Hamada. Let's just get this right. So he's the president of DC Films. He's been in there for a couple years now. Things weren't going straight, so they kind of shook it up in there. So let's put Walter Hamada in there. Walter Hamada, I believe he's the director of a lot of horror movies. Let me see his filmography here. So he did a lot. He was an executive producer of Final Destination, A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Final Destination, 47 Ronin. Let's see here. The Conjuring 2, Lights Out. This goes on 26. And Wolves at the Door. Let's see, Annabelle in 2014. He did a lot of stuff, all right? Executive, and this is, I guess not a director, more of an executive producer role. So he got hired to run DC. And I was like, okay, let's give him a chance. And this whole thing blew up with Joss Whedon, and, and nothing came of it. Supposedly that Walter Hamada was going to do an investigation of it, but really nothing came of it. So I'm interested in, like, what exactly did you do, Mr. Hamada? What exactly did you do to kind of investigate what was happening here? And now you could talk a lot of junk and say, well, we did this, we did that, but really, did you do anything about this? Because really, when you're in Hollywood long enough, you just get to know people. personalities and characters. You know who's who. Anywhere you work in whatever industry, if you know you're working with somebody that's for years, 5, 10, 15 years, you know who they are. You know who they are professionally. You know who they are personally. You've had drinks with them. Even if you didn't like them, you had to talk with them because you ended up in the same circles as them all over LA. So, I'm sure Walter Hamada had an idea who Joss Whedon was or is, or, and even if he was solid on it, he could have asked around and say, hey, who's this guy? Blah, blah, blah. That's the deal. Well, let's see what happens to Joss Whedon. All right, so let's go to the next thing. Next thing is NYPD, man. Not NY. Oh, yeah, sure. Excuse me. NYPD cops. There were 2 that got shot. One was killed and one was injured, unfortunately, in Harlem, I believe. It's unfortunate. So condolences to the family for the cop that really got shot. They were answering a domestic a disturbance, a home disturbance. They went up in the house. They were talking to, it was between a mother and a son. The son was in his 40s or 50s. And he was there, and they were talking to the mother. One of the cops went towards the back, and as the story goes, the gentleman jumped out the bedroom in the back and shot the cop. Unfortunately, this is terrible, right? Terrible. And you know what? I just, when I see these things, I do feel for officers that get killed in the line of duty doing their jobs. And but what I try to be aware of is the narrative that can be spun from this. Why we need more cops? Why we need more cops? And it's kind of like we're going into a revolving door, where a carousel of rehashed talking points, and certain people that want more police will use that as a reason to say, well, this is why we need more cops. And especially when people are saying, well, on the other hand, we don't need to fund more police departments because they're already over budgeted. And the people that are coming as police officers are not really being kind to the folks in poor neighborhoods. So instead of trying to use this as an opportunity to shove into people's faces a pro-cop message, what I don't want people to do, or politicians, is to use this as an opportunity for a PR stunt, because people's lives should never be turned into a PR stunt. And I think we should instead, as the public, to truly analyze this, and we should understand what happened and how to adjust how we should deal with people in broken communities, especially when it was from a domestic disturbance. I think the article said that he was mentally disturbed. Of course, you're a 47, 50-year-old man living with his mother. Obviously, this is not because, this man is, I don't know, an A-list professor or something or other. Obviously, he had some mental issues, and he's living with his mother, and his mother is supporting him. And we should figure out a way. What do we deal with people from broken homes, and how do we deal what the protocol is as far as police officers entering into a home? Because you don't want a police officer to get shot, and you don't want a person to get shot prematurely either. And then all of a sudden, we have all this whole thing, happening again, over and over and over again. And my thing is breaking the cycle. How do we break the cycle? And I think how you truly break the cycle is by analyzing the situation and really being objective and honest on how we can avoid a situation like this. Now, I was walking through the streets of New York, and I actually spoke to a cop, man. I spoke to a cop in front of a precinct. I won't say where. And, I went in to take care of some business, and I actually saw on the wall there was a paper that said, hey, sign up to be a cop. And I saw how much these cops get paid. To start, you get, and I'm sure it's around this number, $45,000 to start as a cop. And in 5 years, they say you can make $82,000. And I'm like, what? And my eyes kind of opened up. I'm like, that is not a lot of money to put your life in the line of, in the line of fire of violence or anything. And it's like, I couldn't do it, man. I really couldn't do it. And I'm talking with the police officer, and I'm asking him, about the pay, and he actually said, I didn't want to take this job. He said if he could do it again, he would not pick to be a police officer because it was just, you don't get paid enough. And I said, how much do detectives get paid? And he said, it depends. You could really be detective at any point. I thought you had to have a certain amount of years on the streets, but he said, no, really, you can be a detective at any time. Say you're new to the force and you're there for 2 years. You save, I don't know, a cat out of a tree or something like that. You save a kid from being shot or whatever the case may be. Depending on how it goes, the department can give you detective status. I'm like, damn, really? He's like, yeah, there's really no numbers, there's no protocol. It just happens. It depends on the situation. And usually they get paid like, $90,000 or whatever, depending. I can't say you 2 years into on the police force working a beat and you're making $50,000 a year that they're gonna jump up your pay $50,000 if you happen to make detective. So I mean, it just made me realize how much police officers, their jobs are no different. They're city jobs. It's no different from in sanitation. It's no different from being a bus driver. And matter of fact, he actually did say he'd rather take sanitation. And he said there's plenty of overtime that you have to take, and they kind of train you to be paramilitary. And that kind of word jumped out to me. I was like, paramilitary? He's like, yeah. They train you almost like paramilitary, where there is no when it comes to overtime, because you got to do parades, you got to cover, you got to do all these things, and you don't really have vacation like that. And it only solidified my reason. I'm like, damn, number one, cops need to get paid more in New York City. Apparently, cops get paid a whole lot more in Long Island. They get paid a sweet amount of money, 6 figures. Of course, not for 2 years. You got to be in it for a little bit. But in New York City as a cop, I tell you, I told you guys straight. If you listen to me and you're a police officer, I don't know how you do it. I would probably say, you know what? Once I found out what was going on, looking left or right, I'm like, I can't do this. Let me pick something else. Matter of fact, I spoke to someone about it after the fact, and they said, yeah, I had a friend that was a cop, and he was a cop for 6 months and left. He was like, yo, this what it's about? And this how much I'm getting paid? Yo, he left after 6 months. And I'm looking at all those folks in that police precinct going about their day, walking back and forth. I'm like, damn, all these people are getting paid X amount just to put their lives in harm's way. And it's crazy that has to happen. I try to see it from both sides. One from the part where, you can't use police as weapons against poor communities, and the other side where these people are human beings and they're just trying to make a living, man. They just, filling out an application to get a call, and then, they're thrown into these situations. And it's not about, some of it is about their own personal belief, but then a lot of them is just trying to, pay their bills and raise their family. Protect their families, provide for their families, and they're in these situations. But, this is the other side to this argument. It's because this is kind of related. What was happening with that train raid in LA. Everybody knows about the train raid. It was, I know some company that had, or companies had their products in the cargo holds of this train. The train got raided, and you see video of people just running up in them, like, stealing them the products and And I just thought about it in like 2 ways. Number one, I was like, where did they get information that they could just run up in a train like this? Because this is the first time I've ever seen any video of people doing this. So you had crowds of people jumping up on the cargo holds, throwing out material, throwing it out stuff, and people running right alongside the train taking this. So number one, where did they get the tip that this was happening and it was actually covered, right? That's number one. Number two, even for myself as a black person, I'm like, why are y'all doing this? Obviously, if you got a tip in the hood that you can actually with ease break into a cargo a container on a train, think. You have to think about how you're going to put yourself in this position, especially when they're filming it. It's the same thing what happened in Chicago when all of a sudden there was a mysterious train that pulled up, whatever, and they had loads of guns in it, and it came right up in the hood. You gotta have some sort of conscious thoughts about what is happening in your neighborhood. And we cannot continue to make this figure this out after the fact when a bunch of people get locked. Think they're putting the carrot out in front of your face. You're hearing this news, see what's happening, and then now look at this. Not just a matter of them running up after you because they got your face because you stole items and they're looking for you, but the broader picture of what the impact of this is when the news gets out, when you have police involved, when you get the media involved, when you get these companies involved talking about, our product was left out in the open and, these people bop. Think, God damn it, think. And it's funny, this is something that I just had a thought on. I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I'm scrolling through Twitter and then I actually found a guy. His name is Alec, A-L-E-C, Karakatsanis. That's a Greek name. If I say it a couple more times, I'll get it. I know I know a couple of people from Greece with names that you got to keep on saying. So Karakatsanis. As far as I can get it, sorry for butchering your name, Alec. He's the founder and director of the Civil Rights Corp. You can find him on Twitter at Equality ALEC. Equality ALEC, and he actually broke it down. I mean, he had a thread that was probably 7 or 8 tweets, and each tweet had evidence, receipts linking whatever that topic of in that particular tweet to another article out there, and you kind of have to go through it. I didn't have time to go through the whole thing, so that's why I'm telling you, go to this guy's Twitter handle and then find it. Train raids in LA, and he broke it down thoroughly from the tweets that I did read, how this is interesting, how you have the police, they have the corporations and media all collaborating to use this as an opportunity to increase the budget. And he said, mind you, the police budget, the LA police budget is already $3 billion. And now this is an opportunity to get more money and to equip more police officers, militarizing them and using more programs to lock up more black people in LA. So whenever I saw this, I was very curious on, wait a second, what is going on here? And you see, of course, the after pictures, trash all over the place, things is raided. The governor was actually involved in his own PR, picking up the garbage. So people have to really be smart, and I'm talking about people in the hood. When you hear of a certain situation, you got to be smart about this. How does it look? How wrong that it can go for you, for yourself, if you get caught on camera stealing these items. And number 2, the greater impact, how does it look in terms of the conversations that are being had publicly with the LAPD, with the politicians, because sometimes they have no choice, because once the story starts stirring around in major news media, they have to respond, and they have to respond in a way where they have to be quote unquote tough on crime. So be smart, God damn it. And this is more so, I'm not even talking about how this whole thing happened and the response from the LAPD and the media and all that corporations talking about. I'm more upset with the people that actually went down there and bit the bait. That's who I'm upset with. You bit the fucking bait. Now you look like a bunch of jerks. Now they're gonna say all 1,001 reasons why they need to do the opposite of the conversation that was being had with defund the police, with Black Lives Matter back in 2020 when George Floyd got killed and all these protests were happening. Now that kind of simmering down, they want to replace that message with a message of, see, we need more police. This is the reason why. And I can't hate on when people respond in the same way, saying, hey, see, that's why we need more police. You gotta be smarter, God damn it. Be fucking smart. Crazy. The other thing that's going on is, of course, as everybody knows, I bring up Manchin and Cinema when it comes to the voting rights thing and all the other bills that they're trying to pass. At the end of the day, I tell people to vote. There's going to be a lot of people that are out there that are on YouTube, on their podcasters or whatever the case, and they have their own channel and they're very well known and they're spinning around and has the ear of a lot of black people in communities across America. And I'm like, listen, and they're telling you not to vote. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That is the worst thing that you can do. That is the worst. That's like in boxing. You don't feel that the referee is being fair with you. Your points is getting put up against you from your opponent, and the judge is all crazy. So you're just gonna go into the fight with your hands down. You know what? If I'm not gonna get my points, I'm just gonna put my hands down and get smacked. No, that's the worst thing you could do, not to vote. So I'm telling you guys to vote, and vote. You people died for you to have the right to vote. Goddamn, you better vote. And this is how you are going to vote. And here's 8 points how you can use your vote, because you know, people going to be like, well, no, but we supposed to do the same thing over and over. And now I'm not telling you to do the same thing and over and over. But here I'm going to give you 8 points, and you discuss it in your own communities with your own folks on how you can move forward with it. But at least I'm trying to give some sort of a solution to the problem what's going on with our current system, especially on the federal level. But you have to be strong on the local level, because the local level will, to me, from where I'm coming from, in my opinion, you vote the right people on the local level, whether it's your mayor, your governor, your senator, whatever the case, your city council members, it'll work, and that energy will work its way further up into the top, right to DC. Now, number one, I say pick someone in your community, man. Place them in those positions of power. Pick someone right in the community that you can trust, that you believe in, that you know thinks exactly like you, and tell them to go out there and take, say, the senator's job. Okay, no more people who have backgrounds as tied in with these legacy politicians and institutions. They are not the leaders in any way. These people that you select are not, quote unquote, your leaders. They are emissaries. They are emissaries of the people in your community. The power comes from the people and not the other way around. You're not going to give them this power and then all of a sudden he or she's going to be like, see, I'm doing, and they're going to be talking to you instead of you talking to them. They are your emissaries. They are not the politicians. They are not going to go in there and be quote unquote politicians. They are emissaries of the people. Number two, don't allow the media to control the narrative in these debates. No, don't worry about no screen time during these debates. They did it to Bernie Sanders. He hardly got any screen time for him to respond, because they didn't want to get his message to get out to the people and rile them up. So everybody else got 5 minutes to respond, and he probably got a minute and 30 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever. He didn't get his adequate time, and he brought it up. And even when they were reviewing these debates, the correspondents will bring up the other politicians that fell in line, and they would literally leave Bernie Sanders out of the conversation. Yes, I saw that. They literally left him out of the conversation. You want your guy, your emissary that represents the people, to be in the conversation. You promote them, you push them. Don't worry about what's happening in the media, them controlling the debate or the conversation, the narrative. You back them with the wild enthusiasm. So, and you tell them to get on their business, to talk about it. If they're on the debate and they're not getting a shine, follow it up right afterwards, and you have them talk their talking points where they weren't properly given that respect. Number three, once they're in, don't let up the active support. Stay on their necks, keep going, because once you say the how it was gone is that you back this particular politician, they get in, and all of a sudden they kind of get sworn by the institution, right? The institution of these political circles. No, you got to keep that same energy up. Don't leave them by themselves, because they will get swallowed up in the whole entire institution that's been going on the way it's been going on. You have the same energy. You got to keep it up. You got to go out there, support them when you can, and get behind them. Okay? Because these institutions are corrupt in their own way. They got long-standing buddy bad behavior, and they got set in institutional benefits that they're trying to push off to that new politician that you're supporting. And a lot of times it's pressure, man. It's pressure. They're like, oh man, all right, I guess I'll take it. No. You stand right beside them and say how things are going. You stand with them, because it's not just about voting them in. It's about keeping that energy and staying right by their side when they go to these meetings. Hey, I'm going to this council member meeting. Hey, I'm going up to I don't know, to Albany to talk. You stay right there with them. Once they number four, allow this public rep, this emissary, to give you periodic updates through social media and other mediums. Let them talk to you. Open it up. Keep them open lines of communication. Hey, I'm going here. This is what I'm talking about. This is what the talking points. I'm going to stay on the next with this. I'm going to keep going. make sure they give you periodic the power of social media. Yes, a lot of people say, oh, social media is bad. No, the power of social media, when you can have an open dialogue with the millions or hundred thousands of people that voted for the emissary that you selected. Have periodic updates. Number 5, anticipate the negative press, because once they find out that they can't bend your emissary, once they find out that they can't give them those institutional benefits, they are going to turn against them. So you have to look out for that smear campaign, whether it's on major news media or wherever it's from. They're going to try to say, well, this guy did this, he was like that. They're going to try to assassinate the character, even if he's squeaky clean and they can't get him on anything. They're going to try to assassinate the character and say, well, you know, this is what he did. That's so wrong. You can't back this person. Hey, screw that. Screw that. Look out for the negative press. Look out for the negative press and make sure you support them all the way. They will try to knock this person down so he can lose his public support. Number 6, if they don't get any progress on the inside, have them point out the obstructionist. Him or her, Democrat, Republican, have them point out the obstructionist. Tell her, okay, you push this forward. Who is giving you the most resistance? Who is it? Who is it? Who? Point them out. Who is giving you the most resistance? If they cannot film it from the inside, you tell them, okay, who's giving you the most resistance? Is it Mansion? Is it Cinema? Who is it? All right, this is what we're gonna do. Because it's not a matter of elephant versus donkey. It's not a matter of Democrat versus Republican. That is a game that they've been playing against American people for decades. Well, this person believes in, well, this person believes in. All of a sudden, you're fighting each other on stupid things that ain't got nothing to do with dick. You go after who is obstructing you, who is getting in your way. And then when you find out, corner them everywhere they go. Don't let them breathe. Don't let them take a shit in peace. Matter of fact, you pass them the toilet paper as you screaming them in their face. We're not going for that bop, bop, bada, bop, bop, bop. All right, you get in their face everywhere they go. You find out they're going to the supermarket. You find out they're going to their kids' game. You find out, you get in their face and be like, now we know what you're doing. You're obstructionist. We gonna ride you out this motherfucker. Okay. Number 7. Who was it? Where am I? Man, I think it's number 8 at this point. So number 6, I'm sorry, if you don't get any progress from the inside, have them point out their obstructionists. That's number 6. Number 7, once you find those obstructionists, you run up on them. That's number 7. Number 8, the last one, it's what the people want. Plain and simple, no more, nothing less. Don't go for, oh, we couldn't do this. The politician will say, oh, he or she is the problem. Excuses, like they saying when Mansion and Cinema. Don't go for that. As the voters, they want you to just drag your feet right on back to your houses. Well, okay, I guess you could have. No, they don't go for that. You stay on their necks. You stay on it. They want you to lose steam. Vote, and then you run up on it. It has to be a strategic, active, damn near guerrilla warfare campaign to get you what you want, because this is the same bullshit they've been playing against you for forever. Okay, forever. So that's all 8 points on what you guys should do. I'm not saying not to vote. Don't lose your enthusiasm. Don't lose your hope. Vote, but then you have to add other things to the vote to make sure that you get what you want, so you can squeeze your ass, bum rush your ass on the inside to see what's happening, and you make sure your emissary talks it up for you. And I say emissary, it could be anybody that's council member, mayor, senator, whoever that you get in those positions of power, and you make sure they answer to the people. Don't pick someone from your community. It could be anybody. I don't care. Whoever it is. But don't let somebody select who your politician should be. All of a sudden, where they come from, how much money they making? They already rich. They already in the top 5%. And hell nah. This is the time for the people. This is what we're gonna do. That's what I say. 8 points on how we're gonna deal with people like Mansion and Cinema and the current system as the way it is. As the midterms comes rolling in November 2022, this is what we're gonna do. Okay. Last thing before I get out of here. The Zoox, man. I'm really feeling what the Zoox is, man. Anybody know what the Zoox is? It's a fully automated automobile created by 2 guys in a garage, by Jesse Levinson and Tim Kentley Clay, Klay. It's a beautiful machine, and I've been seeing the commercials, and I'm really loving it. And I checked out the whole backstory from year to year. They grew, taking its slow steps on building this vehicle. To see the rough sketch, the early 2-frame prototypes, test run, eventually getting to their first HQ in Foster City. Seeing the first off the production line, seeing the first vehicle off the production line, to the point where up until 2020, they had Amazon acquire the company. So now they got their vehicle in San Fran. They got Khaled, or DJ Khaled, to do a video with the Zoox in his video called The New Normal with the vehicle. And they're pushing forward, man. They are pushing forward, and I really like what this is about. I know a lot of people are getting upset because they're saying a fully automated, and what's that going to do with the taxi service and all that? I think it's important that people start to understand that in the 21st century, there's going to be a lot of new technologies that's going to just slowly displace certain jobs, and those jobs are not coming back. And instead of people putting their head in the sand, they have to prepare. And that's part of the mission statement of Lyfeblood.com, to really prepare people for the 21st century, not in terms of just having their independent economic base, but also to have programs and a certain way of living on how people can seek out new ways where they can find a certain level of independence, and trying to find their passions and figuring out what their lives are going to be for the next 20 years. Because, if people don't pay attention to what's happening, then we're going to have an ill-prepared society where people are now going to get frustrated and pissed off and mad that the jobs that they have no longer can sustain them. And we have to start preparing. That's what Lyfeblood is all about. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing Zoox really coming in and taking over. I want to see it. I want to see it in Harlem. I want to see it in New York and the Upper East Side and Brooklyn and Queens. And it would be dope to kind of film that and going around with Zoox. Maybe I could give them a call and really seeing where they can bring. To me, the real terrain is New York. Forget how they just doing it in San Fran. I think the real territory is New York, with all these cars and everything. Not to say they don't have serious traffic, but in an enclosed space like how New York can be in certain streets, man, it would be a real challenge for Zoox. So yeah, man. So anyway, all right, folks, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you guys listening to me. Please subscribe on the YouTube channel. Please follow me on wherever you hear your podcasts, especially iHeartRadio, and I appreciate you guys listening and tuning in. So I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for listening. I'm out. Peace.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com, for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.